today's cup of coffee, we have an abduction encounter. And be forewarned, we have loud neighbors, and apparently Small Child had birthday party or something. So
there was some type of event over there at the neighbor's house. They're loud.
They don't need a lot of reason to be loud.
Yeah, that's true. They're almost loud all the time.
And we don't know why. We're not loud all the time, just some of the time.
I mean, we're loud inside, but not usually outside.
I'm not usually loud, period. I mean, I can get loud, but for the most part, no, yeah. I'm pretty much subdued unless I'm escalated, and then, you know. So, there is a website that I found, and I definitely will include the link to this, and it's called Hows and Whys. And they had a lot of really interesting things on there, a lot of abductees accounts, and for the most part, that almanac, oh hell no, that one's, you know.
Yeah, that almanac is not, it's not good.
So anyhow, I actually did read reviews on the book that was written about this encounter. I will probably get this book, but because I read further, I actually read the reviews on that almanac thing.
And what they say? That it's just a bunch of bullshit?
No, most of them liked it.
Really? But it was full of shit.
Yes, there were a few that were saying, don't buy this is blah, blah, blah. And sometimes it's those twos and fews that you need to pay attention to.
I mean, yeah.
So, I mean, even as a work of fiction, it wasn't good.
I mean, as a work of fiction, it's pretty decent, but, like, if it's meant to be as fact, no, it's horrible as fact.
I don't know. Of course, I have heard some of these people channeling, and it's like, no, honey, you are not part of a galactic federation because you're sitting and having daydreams.
Nope. No.
It's like the reincarnation. Everybody was either Moses or they were Merlin or something like that.
Oh my God.
Have you ever heard many people that have had a reincarnation, and we will make a full one of this sometime, that where they were just average peasant?
Yes, actually.
You know, and it's like...
I have heard of that, actually.
Have you?
Yes, it was some kid over there in Britain, and it's like, I used to live right over there near the ocean or whatever.
I was a serf.
Yeah. He lived an okay life. It wasn't a lavish life. It wasn't the most comfortable, but he enjoyed it.
Right. Well, I think for a lot of these people, it's a matter of delusions of grandeur.
There's this one woman who honestly thinks that she is Marilyn Monroe reincarnated, and it's like, no, honey, you are not. You are not.
I don't know. But anyhow, going back, this experience is about Betty Andreasson. And supposedly amongst the UFO community, very well known. And this article, which I'm going to be not going to read verbatim, but this is by Vicky Verma and was written May 11th. These 11s have been surrounding me again today.
The 11s and the 22s.
And all these years, and I still don't know what it means.
So but if y'all know what those mean, like if you have any indication of angel numbers, please tell us, because we have no idea what those mean.
And actually, as I'm sitting here and looking at the date, it says 2021, and then there's another 0. So what is up with that?
That has to be a typo, then.
I don't know. I've copied and pasted, so I may have pasted something extraneous on there.
Yeah.
So anyhow, Mr. Verma, and it is a Mr. Verma. These days, who knows? Who knows? He said it was a he. Okay. It said he, so that
his name is Vicky.
Yes. Of
course, there are some guys that honestly do have female names, and it's like, okay.
Their mothers must have hated them before they were even born. Why would you do that to a
that
child?
happens sometimes. The
Why would you
mothers
do that?
hate them to hate the children before they're even born.
That's a terrible way to be brought into the world.
Yes, very much so. That's why those children get fucked up.
Yeah, well, Anyhow, it says that the abduction of Betty Andreasson is considered to be one of the most documented cases in the history of ufology. The woman from Massachusetts experienced multiple abductions. Her case is widely studied by UFO researchers, and it became popular after the publication of the best-selling novel, The Andreasson Affair, which came out in the late 70s. She attended many radio shows and TV interviews where she discussed her encounter with gray aliens and even drew sketches of the incident. And she did have artistic inclinations from the time that she was a child, which has been a good thing.
Yeah.
That has helped her express a lot of stuff.
Yeah, very much so. Oh, Lord, they started a car.
Yes, they did. This is why we need a bag of potatoes. Anyhow.
According to the tailpipe.
Absolutely. I'm not encouraging anyone to do that. I'm just saying it's a thought.
I'm full on encouraging. I'm endorsing it.
No, YouTube, he's not. He's joking. He's being facetious. According to the official reports, on the evening of January the 25th, 1967, Betty was at home with her 7 children and parents. She needs to have a badge of medal for having 7 kids.
I mean, do you remember the Octomom?
Well, yeah, that's another one. That's another one. My God, that's a litter. That's, We're just going to pause for a second. If anybody would like to send us potatoes, we would gladly
That made me jump.
Yeah. Anyhow, Miss Betty had 7 children. And at 6:30 p.m., she was busy in the kitchen when the lights in the house started blinking strangely. Soon after, the kitchen's window was hit by a reddish light beam, and the whole house went out of electricity.
Oh, Lord, she got targeted by the FBI.
Yeah, really? The children got terrified, and and Betty tried to calm them down. Her father looked out to find the source of the light and found 5 strange-looking humanoid creatures walking right towards the house. One of the other articles I read about this said that they were kind of hopping.
Like rabbits, almost?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
And before he could understand the situation, the beings walked inside the house through the door, which put the whole family in a state of shock. Now, I don't know about you.
They just let themselves right in.
They're like,
hi, I'm here.
I would have been closing the door.
I would have slammed one of those right in the door. I'd been like, not today. You ain't coming in this house. You can go to the next door neighbors, not here.
Oh, anyhow, one creature went to Betty's father while the other 4 came to her, and one of them started talking with her telepathically. The one who made telepathic contact with Betty...
Speaking with your brain.
...was about 5 feet tall, with your spirit, basically, is what it is. I mean, while others were shorter than him. The description by the witnesses was similar to the modern illustration of gray aliens. They only had slits for a mouth, 3 fingers on each hand, and wore blue-colored one-piece suits. Maybe they were institutionalized.
Maybe they're inmates.
That's what I was going to say. I think they're, interstellar inmates.
They're part of the SCP Foundation.
They had a jailbreak. Betty was frightened, but at the same time, she felt calm by the friendly nature of the beings. They did not harm any member of the family and even released her daughter from a state of unawareness. Then she was taken outside, boarded the saucer-shaped craft with a smile dome that was standing in the backyard. After that, the ship went up in the air and merged with the mothership, where Betty went through medical tests and was under the effects of strange equipment.
It just went whoop slurp.
Now, how can you be under the effects of strange equipment?
I mean, unless they give her like some weird anesthesia or something, like...
Well, it says equipment here. I don't know.
Unless it gives off like some weird energy.
I think that could have been written a little better than that, Vicky. You needed
That's a little odd.
Bit of a thesaurus on that one.
Yeah, a thesaurus is everyone's friend.
Yeah. Later, she was taken to some strange place where she felt much pain. Which, according to her, I'm just reading it as it is.
No, but I'm mocking her writing. Oh my God.
Her, was a spiritual experience. All right, she felt much pain, which was a spiritual experience. I don't know. That brought to mind suspension. You know where they suspend people from those very large hooks?
Yes. But
maybe she was a closet freak. We don't know. She had 7 kids. We don't know what she was into.
I would hate to see her done her basement.
Well, anyhow, later that night, Betty returned home.
She's got all sorts of BDSM equipment down there that we don't even know of.
That's for a totally different channel than ours. Anyhow, later that night, Betty returned.
Is there a hole in the floor that she could be sunk into?
At 10:40 p.m. and found her family still in a frozen state where one of the aliens was watching them in her absence. So, I mean, what's he sitting there popping popcorn and watching Johnny Carson? What?
I don't know. I guess he's just staring at the walls.
You know,
watching paint dry. What was he doing?
He was watching these people. All right, maybe he's making sure that the frozen state, you know, TV dinners is what that brings to mind too.
He's just watching the TV dinners be cooked.
Then the family was put to bed.
Faster.
Then the family was put to bed by the Beans, and the aliens left. What's more, she forgot about her abduction until undergoing hypnotherapy in later years.
I mean, that's not uncommon.
No, it's not uncommon at all.
But like,
well, and even as far as people being abducted and family members being in some kind of altered state of awareness to where they don't know that it's happening. Now, there's lots of accounts of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know. Anyhow, it says that Betty said that some of her interviews with the creatures were angelic in nature, but not biblical. Now, this woman had, you know, as far as a Christian background and stuff like that, and in one of the other articles,
angelic in nature,
that she wanted to believe that they were angels because that was the context that she understood. And we can understand how that would be.
But also, was she the type of Christian to think that angels was just these little light beings, these little cherubs, just these regular people with wings and not warriors, or the higher ones that was like weird rings with wings and eyeballs all over the place?
At the point that this took place, probably. You know.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's just Michael Heiser was a child back then. In 1975, Dr. Alan J. Hynek posted an ad in the newspaper to learn about abduction experiences.
Like Geiger designed.
Betty designed... Would you quit that? Betty answered his question by sending a letter, but her letter was rejected due to its unusual details. So, you know, this doctor was sort of like me going, if you have experiences, email me.
It's literally Geiger making alien creatures,
yes,
and angels.
Well, I would like to discuss Geiger at some point in his artwork because it is very alien.
I mean, yeah, he designed the alien from the movie Alien, and I think he also did Predator as well.
He may have, but a lot of times his again has that going back to Dune, that Harkonnen world.
It's very visceral, infused with...
It's industrial.
Industrial.
Yeah. Now you get everybody derided. Everybody feels like they need Straterra now. In 1977, when her case was deeply investigated by experts, including a solar physicist, electronics engineer, an aerospace engineer, a telecommunications specialist, and a UFO investigator, so she did finally get people to listen to her. It doesn't say how she finally got somebody to listen to her.
Right.
Her case was first investigated by Jules Valancourt, a MUFON, Mutual UFO Network investigator, in 1977. And he said, what I found most amazing about Betty was her ability to draw. The detail of the spacecraft and the beings she drew under hypnosis were such that it really made me believe that there was something to this. And I will tell people that MUFON, it's not that they believe anything and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're very much, as far as going and doing the investigations, and they're not silly about it.
Uh-huh.
You know, the way that some of the other people, I mean, if somebody's a fake and a fraud, they will out them about it.
Okay, that's good, because once again, you do have to have some sort of...
Sure you do.
Oh, God, what is it called?
Skepticism.
No, credibility.
Right. Well, MUFON has been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
And if they were that bogus, they would have not survived for this many years.
They would have been outed and called out.
Sure,
a
they
lot.
would have. Okay, let's see. I've got to find where it was. He also added, this is the MUFON guy being the he, also added that the detective who had given the psychological stress evaluation to Betty, which it means the lie detector, and her daughter believed her story. She even spoke the language of aliens under hypnosis. Her case investigation continued for 12 months, where she and her daughter had gone through hypnosis sessions, lie detector tests, and psychiatric interviews. Both mother and daughter passed them with a genuine reaction. Author and UFO researcher Raymond E. Fowler wrote 5 books on her UFO experiences that included the famous Andreasson Affair series. During her hypnotic regression sessions, or one of them, she remembered one of the early abductions that occurred to her in childhood. And at that time, the craft was flying toward the ocean or sea, and she was terrified that the craft would crash into the water, but the ship submerged into the water and entered into a kind of tunnel. Betty could see everything underwater as the place was filled with light. What she said next under hypnosis was so bizarre that it even gave a chill to Fowler. And this goes back, we had alluded the other day that there have been quite a few UFO sightings as far as these crafts, some kind of crafts, entering and exiting into the ocean.
Yeah, I've heard of that too, but...
I mean, that was one of those that, not that long ago, was released that the military had, their video on that.
I wish he went more into detail as far as the language. What was it, just a bunch of bleeps and clicks?
It doesn't say. But apparently it was something that was some kind of valid... It had a validity to it as being a language, but it was not an earthly language.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they could say that dolphins have an unearthly language. They could say that fish have an unearthly language.
Maybe we've been to churches where people speak in tongues. What's the difference?
That's true.
Yeah. Anyhow,
she's got a point.
During the encounter underwater, Betty had said that she saw people from all eras, different races, encased in glass containers. Fowler called it the Museum of Time. Betty said that people in the container were in old-fashioned clothes, and there were uncountable cubicles with humans inside at the underwater base. And that made me think of the seed vault that they have. That there is a vault, and I can't remember where it is. It's one of these places where it stays cold all the time, that they store all these different kinds of seeds in the event of some kind of nuclear something. We don't know that this is not a people vault.
That sounds like a cryogenics type of thing. Like,
well, we don't know. Like
Walt
I said,
Disney having his head frozen.
Well,
of course, that has been debunked, but...
But now the seed vault really exists.
Yeah, I believe that.
So if these aliens were harvesting different peoples from different times and stuff like that, we don't know that it was not some kind of harvesting of genetic materials and different things like that.
That's true, because there is this thing where women can actually freeze some of their eggs or whatever for future usage.
Right. But, I mean, who knows? You think about, from all the different eras, those of us that live now with the pesticides and the GMOs and all that bunch of stuff.
Right.
So, I'm sure that our physiology is quite different from somebody like around the 1100.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, there's physiological difference from people now versus the 1800s.
Right. The Fowler wrote that he had listened to one of Betty's regression session recordings, and that he found it almost difficult to believe, and it was like a cold chill coursed through his body when Betty was describing people and animals enclosed in glassy cubicles in an icy cavern.
They're in an ice cave.
Yeah. well, it's like, suspended animation and stuff like that. They have become beta fish.
Are they in the iceberg?
No, it was an alien base. But anyhow, Goodreads did
They sunk the Titanic.
Have some positive reviews on that, and some of the reviews were not just, "Hey, I like this book, I read it," because Goodreads does have reviews like that. I may have posted a few like that on Goodreads.
Very much.
But
probably
the comments on this one were quite detailed.
That's good.
They were interesting reads in themselves, and instead of sitting and reading, I'll just post the link to that particular page, and people can read it for themselves.
Yeah.
So,
which is good. Always do your own research.
I'm very interested in hearing this because it was, her personal account that occurred over a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
The drawings, the paintings that she did and stuff about the creatures.
Now, was there video documentation of it? Was there audio documentation of it?
Apparently, there must have been. I think it was like transcripts, and one of the reviews had said that some of the, a lot of the book was transcripts from the regression, the hypnotic regression.
Okay.
And somebody was questioning about the hypnotic regression, and that is a valid way of retrieving information, and we were discussing that earlier today, because Kid and I really do discuss lots of things. And it's like a friend of ours is hoping to get certified in hypnotherapy in the near future.
Which would be awesome.
And I did forewarn her that she may encounter things that she never dreamed that she would encounter during hypnosis sessions.
Yeah, like possible spiritual things.
Absolutely,
or
past
even
lives.
alien
Absolutely,
things.
abduction scenarios, different things like that. And she's aware of that.
Yeah.
So, but this is speaking to the subconscious directly.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps you get by a lot of the blocks that the conscious mind has placed there so that those memories can't surface. And for people who have gone through trauma, that can help. It can be a, key that unlocks a door where, stuff needs to come forth. Because there's a lot of stuff that can prevent people from living life to the fullest.
Oh, yeah, definitely there can be. Could be anything that prevents people from living life to the fullest, be that trauma,
Sure.
weird spiritual experiences.
Absolutely. And there's a
Be
lot of
anything.
things. So do I believe that hypnotherapy is a valid form of therapy to get to root issues? I certainly do.
Yeah, I believe that too, although I've never experienced it, but it intrigues me. But I think it's a valid thing as well.
Well, and this is something, even as far as the Travis Walton case and stuff like that, it was somebody that was trained in hypnosis that was able to help him recover the memory of his abduction.
Right.
That there have been many accounts of abduction, both human and alien, that have been uncovered through hypnosis.
Huh.
So I'm well, hopefully within the next week or so, I've got a pile of books, again, that I need to read. I've got a pile of books from years past that I need to read. But yeah, this Betty Andreasson. And I will leave the links. You can do your own research on more of her encounters and stuff like that, her stories. And I'll probably research more on it too.
Okay. I'll probably, do my own research. I don't know when, but I more than likely will be doing research on that too.
We're waiting on the wind to go.
I know.
So. Yeah.
I've not felt well. I'm sorry.
Well, that's true. He's had some physical issues for years, but anyhow.
Yeah.
If you've had experiences with the supernatural or paranormal, encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, Bigfoot, chupacabras, wendigos,
Big feet.
if you know of local legends or myths or even family stories and stuff like that, first-hand encounters are wonderful. But if you've had family members that have told you their experiences and stuff, send us an email at cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. And, this is a place of sharing, and we do have fun with this.
It's a safe space.
Well, I don't know about that, but we have fun with this. But one thing that we're not going to do, we're not going to make fun of somebody And that is the main thing, that in most of these that you read, people don't share these, these experiences with others because they're afraid of being made fun of.
Well, in that case, it is a safe space for them. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if anybody were to come on there and say something ugly, oh no, they walk the plank immediately.
Absolutely, they do.
So we don't
Rightfully
tolerate
so.
that. Yeah, we don't tolerate that.
Yeah, no, we don't tolerate any of that.
Or trolls or any of that nastiness.
No.
Let them take their hate someplace else. So, anyhow, folks, you all have a beautiful, blessed day. And, yeah, it's okay to talk about these things.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Aliens.